This is part 2 of the Satya Sai Baba study guide on love. Love, the essence of devotion. Devotion signifies love. Love for the divine is the only true love. All other expressions of love are merely attachments of one sort or another. Love is God. Live in love. Start the day with love, fill the day with love, end the day with love. That is the way to God. This love should be considered divine by people of every faith. Manifest your love regardless of how others behave. Cultivate this love. The essence of bhakti, devotion, is love and not formal exercises in japa, recitation, or worship of various kinds. Worship should be offered to the divine who resides in all beings. Love is God. Live in love. Love is the means of realizing the bliss of the self, which is centered in ourselves. It need not be sought elsewhere. It can be found within oneself when all thoughts are controlled and the mind is turned inwards. Dedicate all actions to the Lord. This is the highest knowledge. It is the summum bonum of existence. Love should become a way of life. That alone is true devotion. I will add a point here about an experience I had in regression one time. Regression therapy for me is not so much a hypnotic experience or mental level experience. It's something I was trained to do by guiding people at the light level. So guiding them into a dimension or a specific soul level memory, past or forward in time, let's say, as well as connecting them with different places in their body and different topics, etc. I was being led by a colleague to a level of my own soul knowledge, and there was an experience, I can't quite remember to tell you the truth exactly what was happening, but I had gone in with a question about the different energy bodies. And there was an experience of my so-called mental body, that being the kind of contents of my thoughts. And I experienced that, first of all, like this kind of area around me that could be directed to different places in the body, very connected to the brow chakra. And my friend, who I think has read a lot more spiritual material than me, said, "Oh, Amala, what happens if you just direct your thoughts towards the divine?" And as I did that, there was such an ecstatic experience of, and I described it this way, like, oh wow, if I just turned my thoughts to the divine, this mental body, this aspect of my aura, if you will, becomes golden. It connects with everything, and I experience that I am everything. I am just the unity. Even describing this, it's just blissful. It is just this reconnection that is available to all of us. If you even just try it for yourself right now, ask yourself that question. What would happen? How would I feel if I just directed every thought to the divine? And open yourself up for that experience. The training for the embodiment of that, as far as I can tell, is a daily training. And again, when I talk of divine or use words like God, I'm really not speaking in a way that I think Western culture associates these words with religion, especially Christianity. No. But they are words that capture more effectively than other words this level of power and authority of the Creator, this aspect which we are a part of that governs the unity and an intelligence beyond our fathoming, and really the electrical property that we can perceive when we open ourselves to experience it. Again, in case anyone was put off by some of the wording there, the simplicity of a repeating principle in many, many ancient spiritual texts and modern ones is this: to achieve liberation, you direct all of your attention and energy to the divine. That will look different for different people, but essentially my interpretation at this point is about making yourself available to the knowing and the experience and the lived embodiment that you are part of everything and that you are divine. I will proceed with my reading. There are 9 types of devotion. I'm just going to read the English. Listening to the glory, devotional singing, contemplating, worshipping the Lord's feet, adoring, worshipping, being a servant, cultivating friendship, surrendering. In whichever way you offer worship, God responds in the same way. The Puranas, scriptures, have described the lives of great exemplars of 9 forms of bhakti, devotion. They are, I'm not going to read them, the same things I just listed. Okay. What is devotion? It is not merely offering several types of worship or going on pilgrimage. Unalloyed and true love for love's sake alone constitutes devotion. True devotion is the love flowing from a pure heart, unpolluted by selfish motives. Love is the intimate bond of relationship between the devotee and the Lord. There are 9 types of devotion, but they are not equal to prema, pure love. The inner current of all 9 types of devotion is prema, love for God. The scriptures consider moksha, liberation, as mergence in the divine, but the bliss that is experienced by constant contemplation of the divine through devotion cannot be got even by merging in the divine. Vedanta has proclaimed that the love of God is moksha. The heart of the devotee filled with love of God is tender and sweet. Sometime or other, everyone is bound to make his or her heart such a shrine of love for the Lord. With the Lord enshrined in the devotee renounces the desire for liberation. Devotion itself will make him or her one with the Lord. When a drop of water falls into the ocean, it achieves immortality and infinitude. If you hold a drop of water in your palm, it evaporates in a few moments. But when you join it with the ocean, it becomes boundless and one with the vast ocean. Only through love can union with the universal be realized. To a devotee who has achieved such a union with the eternal, everything appears as divine. The Gopikas of Vrindavan were such devotees. They experienced divine bliss through their intense devotion. Like a fish that cannot live out of water, the devotee who is immersed in the nectarine ocean of divine love cannot exist for a moment without the love of God. That devotee cannot relish any other thing. Every part of his or her body is so much filled with the love of God that each organ finds expression in proclaiming the glory of God or rendering service to God. This was the kind of devotion the Gopikas had for Krishna. It was something beyond the intellect and the power of reason. Krishna explained to Uddhava the true nature of their bhakti. Because such bhakti is incapable, pause, because such bhakti is incapable of intellectual analysis, it is dismissed as blind faith. Intellectual inquiry cannot explore what is subtle and can be known only through experience. That segment fits very well, don't you think, with the experience I just shared with you. My work is also about dismantling these structures inside of us, these conditioned structures, if you will. The subconscious mind is involved, they're running through the whole body, they're involved in dis-ease and symptoms we carry in the body, as well as our trauma patterns and relational challenges. These structures, I call them bliss structures. We set them up. The power of our being set up these train tracks of behavior, interpretation, and understanding based on what the outside world told us was valuable, what the outside world told us that we were, and how life works, and how to be happy. Everything we do is to be happy, is to experience love. But because of these conditioned structures, they don't tend to lead to love and good feeling and bliss. So dismantling those, again, is about collapsing down these stories that come from pain and separation and trauma and returning to the unity which we can experience in our heart, that being one with everything, that being love, and that loving everything because everything is you. And there, even as I describe it, and maybe you can tune in and feel it for yourself, there is that bliss we all have been looking for. We have been looking for bliss and love and joy and peace outside. But that has been a misalignment of our energy. It has distorted us, and it has distorted the function of our bodies. And the answer, the solution, people talk about self-love, yes, but real self-love is about the Atma, it is about the soul, it is about returning to this place where loving yourself is loving everything. And it's so delicious, and it's such a relief, and it needs some attention to embody because it is just the opposite of where all of our muscles of life have been directed. It takes a training, it takes a lot of remembering and reminding, and at the same time, it's so quickly evident when you turn your attention there, and it really is your true nature. Collectively, if you can consider like an out breath, he describes the ocean there too, like this wave that we have experienced together, all of us, like from the unity into ultimate separation, ultimate soul forgetting, ultimate spiritual amnesia. What we're all going through now in this involuntary awakening is the return from separation, to unity, from confusion and pain and distortion and trauma to love. So again, there are so many intellectual things to explore in this world, and I'm a big investigator, especially about the mechanics of life and earth and how things really work. But if you can hear this and if you're ripe for it, the fastest track towards everything that you long for is get into your heart. And the main obstruction is your tendency to be in the head. That is where these distorted patterns are hardwired, and it will get on board with your decision and your attention and your commitment to come here. We all have our own dance with that, moving from operating here to leading here. But after a certain point, nothing else makes any sense. Part 3 coming soon.